Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Got something really cool today if you're into mini brushless racing quadcopters. This is the new KingKong 90GT FPV quadcopter, and I've got the PNP or bind and fly type of version here. This is with the FR Sky receiver already built in. I will be linking it up to my Taranis QX7, the new one I got here. And we're going to do a full review on this. We're going to do unboxing, inspection, kind of a setup. I don't think I'm going to go fully into the Betaflight setup because there's a lot of videos on how to set up Betaflight. So we're going to mainly stick with what the quad features here and then go out and do a flight test and a pros and cons like I normally do. So stick around if you want to see all that stuff in this video. Anyway, let's continue on and unbox it. So it just comes in this nice little Tupperware type of case. Great for carrying little micros around. I think they did a really good job on the packaging on this, and they were able to kind of squeeze everything in here. Of course, you have to have your own transmitter. At least you can carry it in this nice protective case. So here it is right off the top, 90GT, and you can see it here in all of its glory. Really nice little brushless motors. Let's see if we can zoom in and get some specs on these motors. So 1103 7800 kV motors, and look at this thing. So it's a carbon fiber frame, and it's actually a pretty thick carbon fiber for how small it is. You can see that there. The carbon fiber looks like about 2mm carbon fiber, and there's a little FPV camera in the front. Got a nice wide angle FPV camera there. See if we can get a little bit of a higher definition shot on that. So it looks really nice. It doesn't really look like we're going to be able to adjust the angle on this. It looks like it's kind of just fixed in there unless we can possibly push it up. Okay, so it's fixed to the top plate here, and it looks like if I kind of give it a little push, it kind of flexes. So maybe we could like wedge something in the bottom there and kick it up maybe a few degrees, but it really looks like you're not going to get much kick up on this camera unless you do some modifications to it. So I'm just going to peel this sticker off here. It's just saying KingKong PNP. That's just for, I guess, stock reasons. And here's a video transmitter. So it's a 25 milliwatt kind of a monopole antenna here, but it is actually zip tied right in here to the frame. You see that zip tie, and they did put some shrink wrap over the decoupler. So as long as the transmitter is a decent transmitter. You can see here, this is where we're changing our channels. Before I get ahead of myself, that's the quad. Really quick look at it. There's the receiver on the bottom, actually, the FR Sky little micro receiver. Before I get ahead of myself, let's take the rest of the stuff out of the box. I'm just going to set this down for a second, and let's see what else is in here. We've got this box here, and I'm just opening this up. Looks like we've got some prop guards in here. Looks like you're going to have to take off your screws and your motors to put these on, and then put the motors on top of the prop guards. But if you want to, at least you have some prop guards there. So I'd honestly only put these on if you're like a real beginner or you're flying in your house. It looks like it's going to be a lot of work to take these on and off. So really, unless you really need them, don't put these on. I'll just leave them. I'm probably just going to leave them off, even if I do fly in the house too. You know, that'll at least test the durability a little bit if we do crash. And here's our propellers. So we've got 3-bladed props, we've got all the mounting hardware here, there's some screws, and they are these little 2-inch 3-bladed propellers. Anyway, nice looking propellers. I actually, this came in when I did the Jumper X73 review, and I actually had to steal some of these from the KingKong to put on the Jumper because they worked perfect on the Jumper as well. And I've ordered some recently, some extras, and got them in. So last thing in this big box are a couple of cables. So these are going to be like alternate connections and receiver cables, I guess, if you wanted to put your own receiver and stuff. Continuing on, pulling stuff out of the box, there's the foam piece that the quad was on, and this is cool. KingKong is seemingly pretty good at QCing their product. At least that's kind of what this paper says. I did do the KingKong 210GT review, and they had the same kind of paper where somebody's actually physically checking off QC points on the checklist and making sure things are working. So I'm not sure if that's super legit on how they're doing that, but at least they include it for peace of mind, and it does seem like their products are pretty good. Anyway, this small little box, this should be where our battery is and our charger and our all that stuff. Here's the battery. So this is actually a 2S little LiPo, 350 milliamp hour. And the GT90, I don't think I explained this in the beginning, but it does have like a little balance plug that you plug into, which is actually, you'd think, oh, it's so big and bulky, but it's a good idea because any 2S you have is going to have a balance port on it, a balance plug. And so anyone you have that's the right size, you can go ahead, regardless of the main connector. This has a JST connector on it, this red one here. So regardless of that connector, you can go ahead and use it for this craft. There's just a couple more things, and here's the plug. USB to micro USB adapter plug, and that's going to actually plug into your flight controller on the side of the craft. Initially, you're going to want to do that to make sure all your stuff's set up. This one actually out of the box had all the modes set up perfectly to my Tyrannus. When I did go ahead and enable the extra channels 5 and 6 on the Tyrannus, they were mapped perfectly to my switches. But you do still have to set up your auxiliaries in your transmitter. Anyway, last bag in the box is this little bag here that's got 2 rubber bands. This is how we're kind of holding our batteries on. So they give us 2 there, and then they give us a little wrench, looks like, to help us remove the propellers, and then a little VTX card that kind of color codes, sequence of colors, and blinking is going to be what frequency you're on for your FPV. So if you are going to go ahead and race it with other people and you need to change that, this is the card that you're going to need to look at. Anyway, that's everything in the box, guys. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth looking at the inspection of the quad, and then we'll go out there and start flying it. I'm probably going to do indoor and outdoor flights with this one as long as it's not too windy, and really put this thing through the paces. But let's just look at it first really quick. We can see that it has a multiple stack design here, where it has the main ESCs all built into the power distribution board on the bottom here. And then it's got a middle stack here, which is the flight controller. And then on the top is just the top plate with the VTX, like we were talking about earlier. It's already got a pre-mounted up rubber band. It looks like if you do break this rubber band, it's going to be a little rough getting it in there. It looks like you're going to have to pull apart the stack on top here and then put in your new rubber band if this does break. But it seems like a really good black, really tough rubber band, so I really doubt you're going to break that. The flight controller's got all these ports on it. Some of them I'm not sure what they are. That's the micro USB you're going to plug into your computer with the provided cable they gave to go into your flight controller. There's some other ports there on the side, not sure what those are. There's no real other instructions to this thing, but that's basically it. I mean, you can see the carbon fiber structure here, and of course we'll see how strong this one is, because you all know me, how I crash the stuff I review. Pretty much every time I review something, I'm crashing into something, because, you know, it kind of gives you an idea of how people are really going to fly and how it's going to hold up. So I like to throw in a few crashes if I can into my reviews. So with the propellers on this guy, it's got 4 holes in the motor, but the propeller only has 2 holes. And so you're just pushing the propeller over the center shaft. And it's actually pretty loose on the shaft, so you're definitely going to need to tighten those screws in. And you only need to tighten 2 because there are obviously only 2 on the propeller. So just pick 2, tighten it down. And these propellers, of course, like all propellers, have a little bit of a concave. You can see it there where there's a leading edge and a back edge. And there's a little bit of a concave, so of course you just have to make sure that you've got the propellers on the right way. The concave is going to be facing down. And then you want the top leading edge to be going in to the back, and then also the same thing going into the front on that top leading edge. These 2 are going to be going this way, and these 2 are going to be going this way. Anyway, guys, enough of this thing on the bench. Let's get everything charged up, do some close proximity, and then see how the range is and how the FPV is while doing that. And I'll have everything up on the screen so you guys can see how that's all looking. All right, cool. Let's go fly. All right, guys, at the park with the GT90, the KingKong GT90, and I'm gonna do some house flight, but it's super windy at my house right now, so I'm not gonna be able to do that indoor-outdoor flight right now, but I will include that in the video. So stand by for that. It's still a little windy at this park, maybe like 5 to 10 coming from this direction. Pretty much just 5, a few miles per hour. But anyway, let's do a line of sight flight test, and then I'm going to pop on the FPV goggles and we'll do some flying around the trees and stuff, see how this thing does in like an open environment. So also testing the Baby Hawk today, so I want to make sure I'm on the right quadcopter. KingKong 90GT, select model. All right, cool. So we got that selected using the Taranis QX7 little transmitter today for this. All we need to do is plug in. There we go. Wires are just going to kind of be hanging there. Should be all right. And we should be ready to go. So this one, let's see if do I have the props to spin. Yes, so I have the props to spin on arming. All I did was put the flight modes in, arming switch here. Flight modes are here, attitude, horizon, and acro. Anyway, let's see how this thing does line of sight. So attitude mode, woo, peppy. I can already feel the pep. Nice, let's get a good view of it first. In the sun here. See if we can get this on the camera. See how it's doing. What a nice looking little guy. You know, there's no real camera pitch right now, but it actually is flying very well. Let's see what the yaw rate's like. So full yaw to the right now. I'm not super quick, but fast enough. And this is in attitude mode, so if I have full pitch forward, that's the angle there. See that? Whoa, this thing has some power. Nice. So you saw that full pitch in attitude mode. Let's see if it'll fly level. If I go about this high, full throttle, full pitch now. Oh, it's dropping a little, but relatively level. And I got no dropouts on control. Wow, this thing is feeling really nice. So I was about 200 feet and there was no dropout there on control. So it's got a good little receiver in it, feels like. Decent. Okay, let's do a punch test. I already saw the yaw, kind of saw the punch and forward test. Let's do from a hover to a punch right now. Oh, very reasonable. Full throttle off. Let's see if it, oh yeah, it falls perfectly level. Wow. What a little gem so far. Okay, switching into horizon, we should be able to do some flips with this one. The rates feel about the same. Let me double check that. Rates feel a little faster, a little more touchy in horizon. Let's try a right roll. Whoop, a little slow. You know, a little bit slower than a pro would want, but definitely fine. You don't want to be flipping like at this height. You want to be about, you know, at least like 6 to 10 feet before you attempt some flips with this one, because it's flips a little slow. Well, that's okay. You can adjust that if you want. Bump up the rate for your pitch and roll in beta flight, and you can flip quicker. Let's see if we can do kind of an arch roll. So arching, oh yeah, easy. Man, really, this is going to be super fun FPV. Look at this. Awesome. Okay, last thing to test is acro mode. So I just flipped the switch down into acro. Of course, this takes off the self-leveling, so you got to do it all with your thumb. And of course, acro is a little more difficult in line of sight, but it's working fine. Feels like they tuned it down a little bit, so it's a little softer in acro for a more stable flight. I'm gonna switch back up to attitude, and let's just, for the remainder of this battery, before we put our goggles on, let's do some quick line of sight flying. See how it does. Man, you would think it's not gonna be able to punch itself out of certain situations, but it does. Look at this thing. This thing's quick. Look at that. Wow. I'm liking how this thing's flying. Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. This little 90 goes. That's full throttle. Feels like it's getting slightly weak. Oh, don't hit the power lines. Oh, I know I'm gonna love this in FPV. I can just tell it's just flying with great precision. It seems like all the rates are perfect for like beginner. I mean, I'm an intermediate kind of flyer, and these rates are perfect for me. I wouldn't really be able to tell the difference much. Oh, full throttle, and it's going down. So it just gets weak and then drops. And I will have the flight time pop up on the screen here, guys, so you know how long that was of a flight. I don't want to exhaust it anymore because I don't want to. This is the only battery I have for this at this 2S at this milliamp hour, so I don't want to exhaust it and destroy it before I do the FPV test. But man, what a fun flight. What a super flight, guys. So far, super impressed. Let me feel the motors. Not even hot. Just like room temperature, like air temperature. Let's feel the battery. Slightly warm, just barely warm. Man, this thing feels like it's gonna be a super efficient, fun craft for FPV. So let me go recharge this battery. I got a charger in my car over there. Actually, I'm just going to use one of my ISDT chargers, portable chargers. So I'll charge this up. We'll put the goggles on and let's do some flight testing, get through these trees and really put it through its paces and see how it does. Okay guys, so 90GT, time for the FPV test. I'm going to throw on these Amway Commander goggles so you can see that up on the screen. So arming, left trigger, or left toggle. And let's start off in regular angle mode. Nice. Yeah, so what a fun little flyer. Being that there's really no tilt, much tilt at all on the camera, look at this. You can just really nice and easy go through stuff. You're not pressured to go fast and fly fast because the camera is tilting up. You can just take your time with it and go for it. Let's see how the range is. Not bad. Was feeling a couple of slight glitches and make sure my antenna's good. Now this is angle mode, so you can fly really slow, really fast, whatever you want to do. Wow, really liking it. Okay, switching into acro. In acro mode now. Let's see what we can do. Let's not hit. Whoa! I just went right through those power lines. Oh my gosh, I lucked out on that one. Oh my goodness. Look at it. Nice. Wow. What a fun craft. Oh my goodness. This thing flies so smooth. Punching up. Wow. Unreal. Forget flying big race quads. I want to fly these small ones. You don't feel like you're pressured. These aren't dangerous or anything. You can fly fast if you want to, fly slow. What a riot. Let's try to get through these trees. Woo! Flying a little bit quicker. Oh, look at this. I think this is my style. Definitely my style of flying for a while. I just completely smashed that Nighthawk Pro 200 into this fence over here. Just before, okay, in the tree. Speaking of smashing, let's see if this thing's okay. Yep, not even a problem. See if there's any broken propellers or anything. We'll just launch from right here and keep on going. Yeah, the propellers aren't even bent. Wipe off this FPV camera. I'm just gonna fly it from right here and stand up and fly this little guy. I think I'm still in air mode, acro mode. Let's go launch. Fly around till the battery dies out. There I am, hello. Oh, super fun. Through some trees. Man, this is really enjoyable, guys. There's my chair without me in it. So super enjoyable. If you're looking to get into flying. Look at this. Whoa, watch out for those power lines. You know, I'm assuming this is gonna have, oh, we're down. Let's see if we can possibly launch. Nope. Let me go get that again. Well, that time I did break a propeller, so I just let it fall. I probably should have tried to save it, but I let it fall from too high up and cracked one propeller. But no big deal. If I have enough power in this battery to continue flying, I'll go ahead and put on another propeller and we'll just exhaust the battery. Okay, and that's exactly why you need a big box of propellers like this. You see all these propellers? So you're going to be crashing a lot, and you want to make sure you have plenty of extra propellers. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, huge piece of advice, buy tens of sets of propellers for the craft. You know, if you think you're going to make it last for a while, of course if you smash it and crash it right away, you're going to have leftover propellers, but you know, at least maybe they'll fit on another craft. So really simple. All you need to do is take out these two screws, pop this new propeller on, and get back up in the air. Okay, so continuing on, just going to use up the rest of this battery while we still have some power, and let's go for it. Easy as that. New propeller on and we're back up and running. That's the cool thing about these little minis. You're not really going to break anything. You know what I mean? Ah, this one's got some great power for how small it is. Look at this. You can just punch up. Go for it. Loving it. Like I was saying, you're not really going to break anything if you crash one of these, of course, unless you crash, you know, into concrete or metal posts that I normally like to do. So far so good though with this guy. Nice. It's flying really, really well. I'm way out here now. Got some good distance between me and this little guy. Oh, okay. Hey, guess what? We landed perfectly on there. As long as we don't have any broken propellers. Let's see if we can launch. I'm gonna go in angle mode. Oh yeah. A little bit blurry on the screen, but we survived it into acro. Let's keep flying. Yeehaw. Man, this one, I'm telling you right now, is going to get an absolutely 2 thumbs up review, pros and cons at the end. Just a joy. Everything just works. Look at this. It's working out of the box, no problem. Over here, all the way across the park. Just having a blast. That guy's probably like, what's this dude doing? I'm just flying a little macro. Not gonna hurt anybody. Uh-oh. Oh! Okay, it looks like that was our battery. That's what this one does when you get too low. Alright, so this little guy doesn't have a beeper, but check out these lights. As long as you kind of land right side up. VTX lights are really bright, so that kind of helps you find it. Alright guys, so getting a little dark in the evening and I'm gonna have to go home soon, but I wanted to finish up this pros and cons on this one. So from that crash, not sure which crash, but it looks like we have one kinked propeller there. This one here, the front left is kinked, and the rear left has a kink, and then the back right has a little kink. You can get away with just bending that stuff back with these guys. I mean, it does lessen the integrity a little bit, but you know, you're eventually going to break the propellers anyway. And if it flies decent with a kink propeller and you bend it back, then why not use it till it breaks? But I'm going to have to say, completely satisfied with this one. Everything on it is just superb. It had, the range was fine. I mean, I went out there 300 feet or more around those trees. I even went behind me. The antenna's perfect. It's just a simple little monopole regular antenna. Nothing special here, and it worked just fine. I'm assuming this is 25 milliwatt. I don't think they're going to be pumping out 200 milliwatt out of this thing. So at 25 milliwatt, they did a great job at making everything work together. The tuning was perfect on this. I really can't say enough about this. The only thing, of course, is I don't know if you're going to really have the ability to tilt your camera up. You can a little if you just wedge. I think I mentioned this before. You push it up. It's just kind of hooked to the top plate, but you can push it up a little and wedge something in there to give you a few degrees more tilt up. But then you're kind of just bending that top plate up a little bit. Plenty of flight time for what it was. It seems definitely durable enough for just standard micro FPV crashing. All you're going to really do is break props, and unless you're hitting metal or brick really fast and you know, from really high up. So I'd have to say, guys, this one gets a 2 thumbs up for me. You know, what a great little drone. You're not going to be disappointed if you get a setup like this. Get a good controller, and if you're getting into it or just want practice or just want to fly in general and want something small that flies good, you will not be disappointed. Anyhow, I will have the links to this little guy in the description, as well as getting some dirt on my white Tyrannus, as well as the links to this setup I'm using, the Tyrannus QX7 and the Amway goggles, if you want to go ahead and check this stuff out. These 2 items here, of course, you can use for any quad you want practically, and it's going to be a good kit for the hopefully multiple quads you're going to want to be racing or flying or just having fun with in general. So a very good setup here. I'll have links in the description of where you can get this stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.